Hey, all you Reds fans out there in the world. This is Nate with the United Zone, and we're coming to you the day before Norwich visits Old Trafford to take on Manchester United. Norwich is sitting in 18th spot. Manchester United is sitting in 4th spot. So this one kind of looks on paper like it should be all settled, right? Manchester United should get a win. Well, this is Louis van Gaal's team we're talking about. This is the stubborn tulip. He does not like to change. He doesn't like to adapt and move with the way his squad is, the players he has available. He believes in his way. Even when the players came to him and said, hey, things aren't working out. Do you think we could attack? Do you think we could change some things up? He wasn't interested in it. He believes his way is going to be right. And you know what? In the end, it might be. But right now, and even over the last, I'd say 12 months, maybe even since he started, the overall result, the overall picture, if you look at it, hasn't been pretty. Manchester United has fought for points. They've passed the ball around quite slowly, quite methodically, instead of zipping that ball around, creating those spaces. Yeah, Barca passes a lot, but they go so quick, they'll pop a ball over the top before you realize it. Our ball will go from the wing to the back, back to the wing, over to the side, and it'll take 5, 10, 15 seconds for that ball to move all the way around. And whose defenses can adjust so easily on that. So Louis van Gaal hasn't adapted, and if he doesn't change, if there's not a result tomorrow against Norwich, I think the LvG Out camp is going to grow quite larger. We're sitting in 4th place. We're 6 points out of 1st place. If you look at our season this year, at the end of September, we were in 1st place in the Premier League. At the end of November, we were 1 point behind leaders Leicester. So we're sitting in 2nd place at the end of November. Right now, before Norwich visits, right before Christmas here, we have the 4th place position, but we are 6 points out of 1st place. 6 points. We have been slowly digressing over this season. We've already been knocked out of the Champions League. We didn't get the results against PSV at home, which is the reason we got knocked out. We should have never had to go to Wolfsburg to try and get a result. And so now Manchester United's season, when you look at the big picture, yeah, they could come out tomorrow and win 5-1. You never know. And I think that's the frustrating part with Louis van Gaal, is you never quite understand what's going to happen. The overall picture of him and his squad and his football is it's slow and it's dire and it's cautious. And so maybe that's because of the players that he's chosen. He let go of a bunch of players. He's got a thin squad. He's overtrained them. He's double-trained them. Their hamstrings and groins are popping left and right. We got players injured, and Louis van Gaal has had to call on youth. Granted, that is this club, and those youth players are available. And Borthwick Jackson and Powell and Varela and Januzaj and Lingard, all of these guys, Memphis, Martial, these are young guys. Memphis and Martial didn't come from our academy, but that's not the point. This is a young squad with not a lot of Premier League experience. And so I'm proud of for what they did at Wolfsburg, and I'm proud for what they did at Bournemouth. And when we called on them, they were available, and they came out and took care of business. We didn't get the win, but this is what we are. And it's one of the reasons I don't think Jose Mourinho should be considered for the position at Manchester United. He could care less about the youth, and that is the complete opposite of what this club is. We want to see our players come through. We want to trust them. We don't want to have to buy everything. Granted, there was underinvestment for 10 years. Yeah, Louis van Gaal has spent money, but 10 years of underinvestment means there has to be 2 or 3 or 4, even 5 summers of spending huge amounts of money to try and make up for City passing us up and Chelsea passing us up, because that's exactly what they've done. And so now we're stuck with youth, which isn't a bad thing, but it should be a mixture of our youth mixed with some of the world's greatest players. And granted, we've got some great ones now, but world-class players, probably only David De Gea right now would be considered a world-class player. That's not good enough for Manchester United. And so for Louis van Gaal to continue, for him to get my faith back, because I'm in the Louis van Gaal Out Club, he has got to change and adapt to what he's been doing. He's got to throw it out of the window and say, how can we get results? How can we change it? How can we make it better? He's not going to do that. You already know he's not going to do that. He said as much. The players came to him and asked, hey, can we change things? No. He said as much. I believe in my system. I don't care what everybody says. I believe it's going to work. And you know what? In the end, it might, and I hope it does. I don't want to see my club in disaster mode. I don't want to see it in a storm, in a hurricane, being torn apart. Another reason I don't want Jose Mourinho at this club. I don't want those things. I want it to succeed. If we chose Louis van Gaal, I want him to succeed as a manager. I want my club to succeed. But we haven't done that this season. And now Norwich are here, 18th place in the Premier League. Fighting the relegation battle down there with Newcastle. And now you've got them coming to Old Trafford at the perfect time when we need a win. We went to Bournemouth thinking we might get a win against a team that wasn't in the top few teams on the table. No, we lost. I want to say we'll get a win tomorrow. But are we going to get a win tomorrow? Who knows if we'll get a win? I want us to. And I think with Louis van Gaal's announcement in his press conference today that some of the players had come back from injury, I think that might mean it. So let's look at some of the lineups. Let's look at what I think our lineup could be, and maybe even a couple of formation changes that Louis van Gaal should use. He's not going to. I'm just warning you. But if he wanted to tweak it, here's something he could do. So first of all, the lineups. Van Gaal announced that Rooney trained all week, and he should be available tomorrow if Van Gaal wants to pick him. Same thing with Herrera. Trained all week. He should be available if Van Gaal wants to pick him. We know Van Gaal doesn't fancy Herrera for whatever reason. Maybe that's the Rooney thing. He preferred Rooney. However it is, Herrera should be starting week in and week out. He is Manchester United to the core, loves this club, and wants to play. His passion, he'll give 100%. That's who we want out on the pitch. Same thing with Chris Smalling. Trained all week long. He should be available if the manager wants to pick him. Now, if you're going to start at the back, De Gea in goal, is there any other option? In front of him, I think there should be Smalling and Blind. Not the most amazing partnership in the Premier League, but a good partnership. They know each other and they've worked together well. And from what we've had in the last few matches to this, I think it would be a good upgrade, and it would hopefully calm down what I think should be Borthwick Jackson on the left and Varela on the right, Those guys, that back four, I think with Smalling and Blind in the middle, that should calm things down and allow those backs to be able to do what they should do without the fear of thinking that it's all on their shoulders. Moving up in the pitch, I think Schneiderlin should be right in front of that back four. His protection, he is a top Premier League player, even, should I say, a world-class player. Schneiderlin is amazing. Schneiderlin should be in the starting 11 every week. And with Schweinsteiger out, I think he should get the start. I think Carrick should get a rest. We've got a busy Christmas season coming up, and we need to make sure that we can move through our squad and not have people out with injuries any longer. So Schneiderlin in front of that back four. I think Herrera next to him, pushing forward into attack, coming back to help on defense. Herrera in that midfield with Schneiderlin. Yes. In front of that, I think you could see Memphis out on the left or Martial. You could do either one. Martial and Memphis up front. Rooney right behind them in the 10 position. And I think you push Mata back out onto the right. Lingard's hurt. Ashley Young is hurt. And so I think that's out there. I'd love to see Mata sat down and Pereira given a run out on the right side. So you'd have Pereira and Memphis on your wings. Martial up front with Rooney in the middle. And Herrera pushing forward. Are you kidding me? That starting lineup, that formation, it could be the deal. So in the comments below, what do you think? Are you LvG in? Are you LvG out? Why are you LvG in or LvG out? What do you think about our lineups? Maybe a tactical switch. That's probably what LvG is going to do. It's that 4-5-1-1-3-1, that 4-5-2, or that 4-2-3-1, sorry. I'd love to see a 4-3-3 or even a 4-5-1, 4-3-3 that changes into a 4-5-1 for defense coming back. I was talking with Ian from Steady News TV, and we were just talking about some tweaks might do Louis van Gaal some well. You know he's not going to. That's Louis van Gaal for you. Stubborn as ever. The Iron Tulip. There you go. So huge match against Norwich. 3 points. We need it this weekend. If Louis van Gaal doesn't get a result this weekend, it's time. Okay? It's time. So leave your comments below, like this video, subscribe to the United Zone YouTube channel. We're going to be bringing you some great content, some great things coming up over the Christmas break, and hopefully we can see Manchester United get 3 points against Norwich tomorrow. Come on, you Reds.